Good morning and welcome to another episode of Resplantsibility. Can you guess what we're talking about today? It's not grasshoppers. These seeds here are the seeds of a persimmon. This is a persimmon you might have seen at the grocery store. It's a cultivar called a fuyu of the plant Diospyros, a member of the Ebonaceae plant family, a woody family mostly in the tropics, trees and shrubs. But we do get a few temperate ones, like the persimmons that we're going to be talking about today, our native persimmon up here in North Texas. Let's see if we can go find some fruits. So here we have a persimmon tree. This is Diospyros virginiana, a species of persimmon native to the southeastern United States. From Connecticut to Florida, all the way west to Texas, Oklahoma, and Iowa. Not a very large tree. Not a lot of branching in the upper branches. Let's see if we can get a closer look. You can see this area beneath the tree is very popular with animals like raccoons. The fruit is also popular with possums and any other mammals or birds that can get to the fruits. Here is the bark of Diospyros virginiana. We see an organized fissure pattern, and in some of the lower areas we see little veins of red, and we can see this red echoed in the younger branches as well, the younger stems. Well, they got a little battered in the storm we just had, but we can see the leaves of the persimmon are large, oval shaped, they've got a pointed tip. Sort of a rounded oval base with a short petiole. If we flip that leaf over, we see it's got a bit of an indumentum, but not much. These are just turning from their normal bright green color to their autumn colors here. And here we've got a few fruits. The first thing you might notice, in comparison to the cultivated fuyu persimmon, which is again a different species, they're much smaller, like less than a quarter of the size of the fuyu persimmon. So here I've got one up close we can see in the light a little bit better. Not only is this fruit smaller than the Diospyros kaki, the fuyu persimmon, it also has more seeds, and they're about the same size. So the fuyu persimmon has 4 seeds, and this one has 8 similarly sized seeds. So our fruit to seed ratio is a little bit less desirable for snacking. But it's good for the plant, right? Because that means that it can disperse its seeds. Yeah, someone's already chewed on this, and I suspect they realized that this one's not ripe. So on the outside, this one looks pretty pleasing, right? Like it looks like it might be pretty tasty, especially when you see that juicy fruit. But the thing about persimmons, especially these non-cultivated persimmons, is that until they're almost rotten, they have an extremely high concentration of tannins. And the tannins make your mouth feel terrible. They make your salivary glands dry up, and they just generally don't taste good. They create a very astringent flavor. So I suspect whatever animal was chewing on this realized very quickly that this one's not ready. Doesn't it look good though? Who's that? Who's that coming up in the shade of the persimmon? It's got a red stem. Almost parallel little grooves on the leaf there. What do we got, a plantago? Polygonum? Ah, maybe the Polygonaceae. I don't know who that is. Okay, so from the tree, this is the closest I could find to a ripened persimmon, and I suspect this one might not even be very palatable. But I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try it, and the only rule is if you eat a persimmon from a persimmon tree, you have to promise it that you will plant its seeds and grow a new tree. Yeah, that's the only rule. Otherwise, you know, help yourself. What bird is that? There's an initial sharpness that you get if they're not ripe. And I did just get that initial sharpness. But it usually isn't until you've chewed on it for a while that you realize that, you know, it's chock full of tannins. The tannins start to wreak havoc on your salivary glands, but it's still quite tasty. Incredible fruit. An incredible tree if you want one in your yard. The only thing about Diospyros virginiana is that it is not actually it's not monoecious. It has male and female flowers on separate trees. So if you wanted a fruiting tree, you'd probably be best off getting multiple small trees, and hopefully you get lucky and you get a combination of males and females. Oh! Yeah, this is not ripe. Not a ripe persimmon. The thing about it is that the animals know when they're ripe, and as soon as they get ripe, they usually take them. So I suspect if you had one in your backyard, you could check it every day. A tasty fruit nonetheless. So there's our there's our persimmon tree, and you can see someone's got the right idea. Little hidey hole, and this is where they've been snacking. What do you think, a raccoon? Who is this? It kind of looks like a maple. Do we have maples around here? Box elder? Multi-stemmed, shrubby guy. Not very tall. Understory. Kind of looks like a maple. Maybe box elder. Box elder has these kind of green, fleshy, younger stems. I don't know though. It's a big leaf. Do you have samaras? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And you know what? I think this is just a Rumex. Looking at it now, I think it's just a young Rumex duck. I suspect. We got lots of ambrosia, lots of ragweed. I know it's 20 minutes now, and I'm still working on that persimmon. Is this what I think it is? This better not be what I think it is. Well, I'll be damned if it's not a Chinese pistache. Pretty colors, but a noxious invasive tree in the area. It's used a lot in horticulture, but these berries are eaten by birds and they escape into habitat like they have here. That robin sounded guilty. You know, if I cared more, I wouldn't do this in public places. And you get a lot of weird looks when you crouch and yell at the ground, but fortunately I don't care that much. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Resplantsibility. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys next time. You know, I take it back. It's not ripe, but it's of the persimmons I've had this season. It's definitely one of the better ones. I think I've gotten 2 good persimmons, and this one's a almost good persimmon. Oh no, I think I stepped on that one by accident. Sorry. This is what happens when you play in the raccoon den.